India's single time zone, a look at its history. The sun rises almost 2 hours earlier in eastern India compared to the west. This significant difference often raises questions about the decision for a unified time zone. Indian Standard Time, IST, was established by British officials in 1906, spanning across a country length of approximately 3,000 kilometers and 30 degrees of longitude. Despite this vast geographical spread, India maintains a single time zone, a practice dating back to British rule as reported by the BBC. IST sets India ahead by 9 hours and 30 minutes from New York, 5 hours and 30 minutes from London, and 3 hours and 30 minutes behind Tokyo. Interestingly, India's clocks have not adjusted fully to the hour differences with other nations for over a century, maintaining a unique 30-minute difference. This 30-minute time difference aligns India with a few other regions globally such as Iran, Myanmar, and certain parts of Australia. The concept of a half-hour time zone started during the colonial era with the global tightening of schedules via steamships and railroads. Historically, India had localized time systems varying between cities and villages until the 19th century. The East India Company, during its control, established one of Asia's first observatories in Madras, now Chennai, in 1792. By 1802, Madras time was declared as the basis for Indian Standard Time, marking the beginning of a standardized time system in India. The implementation took decades and was propelled by the advent of steam-powered locomotives and the company's commercial interests. Jeff Gordon from the University of Amsterdam notes the significant influence of railroads in standardizing time across colonial India. Before the acceptance of Madras time, major cities like Bombay and Kolkata competed for this standard, but the railroads ultimately dictated the outcome. Internationally, the need for standard time zones arose primarily to improve sea navigation and coordinate transcontinental rail traffic, culminating in the 1884 Washington, D.C. meeting. This meeting established the Greenwich Meridian as the reference line for international time zones, typically set in hourly stages from GMT. Despite global movements towards standardized time, the adoption in India was gradual, with resistance from local communities and labor unions against the rigid schedules. The resistance was rooted in a shift from localized timekeeping to a system determined by infrequent railroad schedules. Ultimately, Madras time was formally adopted across India in 1905, leading to further discussions on time alignment with GMT. In the 20th century, scientific bodies advocated for India to precisely align with GMT. The Royal Society in London proposed 2 time zones for India, one full hour ahead of GMT and one behind, to better reflect regional differences. However, the British colonial government opted for a uniform time, setting it at 5.5 hours ahead of GMT. This decision led to the formal establishment of Indian Standard Time in 1906, creating a standardized yet unique time system for the entire nation.